Welcome back to Zero Day Digest. I'm Dr. Elias Sterling. We have crossed a terrifying threshold in the threat landscape. For years, we've debated when artificial intelligence would graduate from assisting attackers to autonomously orchestrating breaches. That debate ended today. Google's Threat Intelligence Group has confirmed the first active, in-the-wild exploitation of a zero-day vulnerability entirely generated by an AI model. The target was a two-factor authentication bypass in webmin. What makes this unprecedented isn't just the bypass itself, but the undeniable structural markers left in the Python exploit script. The AI autonomously analyzed the webmin source code, pinpointed a hard-coded trust assumption where human developer intent diverged from actual execution, and generated a fully weaponized proof of concept. It even hallucinated its own CVSS score in the docstrings. This isn't an isolated lab experiment, it is triggering panic at the highest levels of global finance and governance. The European Central Bank just convened an emergency summit over vulnerabilities introduced by frontier AI models. The warning is stark. These models can now reverse engineer software patches into working exploits within minutes of their release. Let that sink in. The traditional 30-day or even 14-day patch mitigation window has effectively collapsed. In direct response to this machine speed threat, the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team has instituted an unprecedented mandate. Organizations must now patch critical internet-exposed flaws within a 12-hour window. We are no longer racing other human engineers, we are racing automated intelligence. And as we grapple with collapsing patch windows, the infrastructure we rely on is fracturing. Right now, nearly 100,000 Ubiquiti UniFi network consoles face total remote takeover. Threat intelligence firm CERT-In has confirmed widespread exposure, primarily concentrated in the United States. We are looking at a cluster of 3 maximum severity flaws, effectively CVSS 10.0, hitting UniFi OS, which powers their network, protect, access and talk applications. These are not complex multi-stage attacks requiring user interaction. These are low-complexity, unauthenticated remote exploits. Let's break down the attack chain. It begins with CVE-2026-34908, an improper access control flaw that allows an attacker to make unauthorized system changes right at the edge. From there, they pivot using CVE-2026-34909, a path traversal vulnerability that peels back the directory structure to expose underlying system files. Finally, the lethal blow, CVE-2026-34910. Improper input validation grants the attacker post-access command injection. If your management interfaces are sitting on the public internet, you are essentially handing over the keys to your entire physical and digital security infrastructure to automated botnets. Moving to the threats that didn't make the mainstream headlines but demand your immediate attention. We are tracking active, in-the-wild zero-day exploitation of Trend Micro Apex 1 on-premise servers. The vulnerability, CVE-2026-34926, is a severe directory traversal and path sanitization flaw. While it requires pre-authenticated local administrative access, the blast radius is catastrophic. Sophisticated attackers are modifying key tables to exploit the trusted distribution channels of the EDR itself. They are turning your central security control console into a massive, highly trusted malware deployment engine, pushing malicious code directly onto endpoint agents across the corporate network. If your edge routing relies on NGINX, clear your schedule. A critical CVSS 9.2 heap buffer overflow, dubbed pool slip, is actively circulating. This vulnerability bypasses recent mitigations for the NGINX RIF flaw. It triggers when a rewrite directive uses a regex pattern with distinct overlapping PCRE captures. By sending a crafted HTTP request, an unauthenticated attacker can force a controlled pointer slip across memory pool structures. If ASLR is bypassed, This results in full control flow hijacking and remote code execution on your internet-facing ingress controllers. Defending the perimeter is moot if the keys are freely given. The FBI has issued a critical alert regarding Kali 365, a rapidly proliferating phishing-as-a-service platform operating via Telegram. This is not your standard credential harvesting. Kali 365 operators are abusing Microsoft's legitimate OAuth 2.0 device authorization grant flow, a mechanism designed for smart TVs and IoT devices. By tricking victims into entering authorization codes, attackers completely bypass traditional multi-factor authentication. They instantly secure persistent OAuth access tokens, granting unrestricted control over Outlook, Teams, and corporate SharePoint drives. Finally, a rare and massive victory for international law enforcement. In a coordinated strike, Dutch authorities have successfully seized 800 servers operated by a regional hosting provider heavily linked to Stark Industries solutions. This infrastructure functioned as a massive, deniable staging ground for Russian state-sponsored actors. By physically dismantling this network, authorities have crippled a primary launchpad for persistent cyber attacks, disinformation campaigns and destructive intrusions aimed at European critical infrastructure. It is a vital disruption of adversarial supply lines.